Now, we're not going to linger on the news today, but this is an important article just because I have a take on it that I want to share with you guys. It's a Business Insider article that says 70% of millennials are living paycheck to paycheck more than any other generation. The article goes on to say 70% of the generations that millennials said that they're living paycheck to paycheck, according to a survey by Payments and Lending Club, which analyzed economic data and census-based surveys over 28,000 Americans. It found that 54% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So half of America is living paycheck to paycheck, which is pretty crazy. But millennials had the biggest broke energy. By contrast, 40% of baby boomers and seniors said that they live paycheck to paycheck, the least of any generation. So 70% for millennials, 30% less for baby boomers and seniors. They saved more, whatever you want to say, they're in a better economic position. Living paycheck to paycheck reflects economic needs and wants just as much, if not more than income or wealth levels, according to the report. Age and family status also factor in greatly. This explains why millennials are struggling. Let's go on down here. The pandemic threw yet another wrench into their plans by giving them their second recession and second housing crisis before the age of 40. So millennials have lived through 2008 and now through the COVID pandemic. Living paycheck to paycheck sometimes carries connotations of barely scraping by and of poverty. The reality of a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle in the United States today is much more complicated. In fact, a lot of people are making six figures and they're still struggling to get by. The survey found that 60% of millennials raking in over $100,000 a year said that they're living paycheck to paycheck. So what does that mean? Well, to me, it means that they are victim to lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is like a new trendy word that basically describes when you spend more money to live a certain lifestyle than you actually make. You're not investing, you're not saving, you're scraping by using credit cards, scraping by on your paycheck to paycheck to live a certain life. That's lifestyle creep. This makes it more difficult to balance spending and saving habits. But the report found that those who felt that they were living paycheck to paycheck were mostly financially responsible. If they received additional sources of income during the year, many tucked it away rather than spent it. Now, that to me is the most interesting part. They feel that they're financially responsible living paycheck to paycheck. The reason that I wanted to bring this up is because I think, one, lifestyle creep is avoidable. If you're following me, if you listen to me and people like me, I feel like you're not a victim of lifestyle creep, hopefully. But at the same time, some of you probably are. So how do we feel that we're financially responsible if we're spending just as much, if not more, than we're making? I think that is the most interesting psychological piece of this because it shows the younger generation, my generation, the millennials, we as a whole, not me, but we as a whole are okay with not striving for more, not excelling, not putting our future selves in a great position, whether it's because we think the government will handle everything and UBI is coming. I think it sends us in that direction. The psychology of millennials on the majority, not all of us. Like, I don't succumb to this, but I think I'm grouping myself in the generation. Our psychology feeds UBI. It feeds government handouts because we're used to living paycheck to paycheck. We don't need excess. We don't need to invest our excess. Like, the idea of it, to me, this shows 70% of people living paycheck to paycheck in my generation. Those people are only going to want UBI. They're only going to want more liberal policies, more democratic ideas. And that's a scary thing. This 70% of paycheck to paycheck also, I think, is because of inflation. Things are getting more expensive. People are going to Starbucks and still eating the things that they eat, even if they get more expensive. So you might have been getting Starbucks every day and it was $3 a cup. Now it's $6 a cup. You're still buying it. That's basically 2 days in one. You're going to spend twice as much over the year. So I think people aren't paying attention to the price increases in their everyday life, and that's why lifestyle creep has crept in. So I bring this to your attention because I don't want anyone that follows me to succumb to lifestyle creep. If you make $100,000, let's say you're not a business owner, let's just say you're a trader and you have another job and you're pulling all your income together and you make $100,000, you've got to not only be saving money for taxes from your capital gains or if it's Forex gains, it's ordinary income in the US. Not only do you need to be saving money for taxes, but you should be investing for the long term. You shouldn't just be thinking about this weekend, next month, or this year. You should be thinking 10, 20, 30 years down the line, because by the time we're all 40, 50, 60, it's going to be too late. Time is the only currency that is truly valuable. That's what the government and whoever they are, they don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know that time is more valuable than money. We can use time to our advantage by not living above our income, living below our means, and investing our excess, not just spending the excess on a new bag. How many people were spending their stimulus money, their stimmy checks on vacations, on Rolling Loud, on conferences that don't matter, not a Patrick Bet-David conference. They're going to a concert or Firefly Music Festival, whatever it is. The stimmy money there wasn't spent correctly. That's lifestyle creep. So I think, again, I just bring this to your attention because it's crazy to think that 70% of people in my generation are living paycheck to paycheck. It's even crazier to think that people living paycheck to paycheck are making more than 100 grand. Because when I was a kid, I knew once I made 100 grand, I'm rich. Then you make 100 grand a year and you're like, okay, I'm clearly not that rich. So if you're making over 100 grand a year and you're still not able to save, you've got to rebalance the way you're spending your money. That's my advice. Rebalance your spending.